Greetings everyone, it's Brian again. We are starting off our fourth full day at the Montreal Jazz Festival. It's July 2nd. I leave tomorrow at noon, but today is going to be a great day. We've got concerts by Joshua Redman on the docket, Jacob Collier, even Brian Adams is performing at the Bell Center as part of the Montreal Jazz Festival, the huge stadium where the Montreal Canadiens play. So that's all going down tonight. Right now I'm going to start things off a little differently. I wanted to actually start about 1 o'clock. I'm going to get some food. Montreal has amazing cuisine. They're known for their bagels, they're known for their smoked meats, but one thing I've always wanted to try is this place called Wilenskys Light Lunch. It's a little deli counter and soda fountain, and one of the things they're famous for are these little bologna sandwiches on rolls where they spread some mustard and cheese on them. Very simple, but supposedly very tasty and very famous. The one thing is, you can't ask for a custom order, you can't ask for no cheese, you can't ask for no mustard, you can't ask them to cut it in half. They'll toss you right out of there. So we're on our way over there. We'll stop by and see what all the buzz is about. After that, we'll check in tonight for some great music by Joshua Redman, Jacob Collier, Butcher Brown, Lucky Peterson, and so much more. See you later. Well, here we are. We've made it to Wilenskys Light Lunch. This place, as I mentioned, is famous in Montreal and throughout North America for their little sandwiches on rolls. So we're going to head in and try one, see what all the fuss is about. Alright, well, that was fun, Wilenskys Light Lunch. As you saw, very bare bones, old school. The guy manning the grill was telling me that they'd been making those same sandwiches with bologna and salami and cheese and mustard for 87 years. So they're obviously doing something right, and it was delicious. I got 2 sandwiches. I had an egg cream, which, in case you don't know, is it's like chocolate milk that's been carbonated by seltzer, and a side of pickles, and it only cost me $11. And so it was a nice ambiance, old school diner. Chatted it up with one of the guys who manages the place, and yeah, it just felt really homey. If you're in the area for Jazz Fest and you want just a quick bite, cheap, but very, very authentic and true to Montreal, definitely check it out. It won't break the bank, and you could cross it off your must-do in Montreal list. I'm off now to try out some bagels. Montreal, as you know, is famous for their bagels. There are 2 kind of like reigning bagel kings in Montreal. One is called Fairmount and one is called St. Viateur, and we're going to try out both. And as a JAZZIZ exclusive, we'll have a battle of the bagels for you in another video. So check out our homepage or our YouTube channel to follow along. All right. So as you walk back from lunch, you come across, of course, Schwartz's, which is famous Montreal smoked meat. It's like pastrami. There's always a line outside for Schwartz's because it is that good. It's very, very good. A little bit of a wait, but worth it if you're in town and you want some Montreal smoked meat. Insider tip: if the line for Schwartz's is too long, which it very often is, come across the street to Maine. It's essentially the same food, A lot of smoked meat, pastrami, and it's really just as good. So, a couple options here. This is on St. Lawrence Street, Schwartz's Deli, and Maine. All right, so to start things out musically for day 4, really evening 4, we are headed to a set by Richard Reed Parry, who's a multi-instrumentalist, probably best known as a member of Arcade Fire. So he's a Canadian musician, and yeah, he's kind of branched out with a solo project that incorporates a lot of cool stuff, including some avant-garde jazz, some world music, some electronica. Should be pretty cool. It's actually at I think it's at a coffee shop collective workplace, so we'll see if we can take some footage while we're there. After that, we're on to a concert by Joshua Redman, then one by Jacob Collier, and then we're going to finish things off with set by Butcher Brown, playing JAZZIZ, of course. That's a cool kind of quartet from Virginia, so stay tuned and we'll bring you along as much as we can. All right, well, that show was really cool, and I was wrong about a lot of things. It wasn't Richard Reed Parry solo. It's not a solo project. He was with a 4-piece band, but it was really more sound art, more of an installation than anything else. It took place at the top of that SAT building, in a huge domed room where there were like reclining beanbags set up all over the floor, and the idea was you'd sit in these beanbag chairs and look up at the ceiling, and there were it was a projection of kind of like a video installment that went along with the music, which was very ambient, very impressionistic, but at the same time it was Richard Reed Parry's trademark indie rock style. So lyrically it was beautiful, melodically it was beautiful, and that visual element added so much. I'll actually be able to show you a little bit here, because it's difficult to describe in words just how immersive an experience it was. Nature was definitely a theme. There was a lot of water imagery, forest imagery, and yeah, it was such a cool show. Check it out right now. See what I'm talking about. It's just a little taste, and then we'll have a review of the Joshua Redman show that I'm headed to right now afterwards. All right, enjoy. Well, that turned out to be a very special performance by Joshua Redman, actually, because before his set, he was presented with the Miles Davis Award, which is given annually here to musicians who make great contributions to the field of jazz. And he explained that he was honored to be joining a list that included Pat Metheny and Keith Jarrett and Brad Meldau. And what made it extra special was that it was the last time that the festival's co-founder, Andre Menard, would present the award. He's retiring, stepping down after this year. So it was a really meaningful event. Joshua, went on to play with his quartet. That's who he was appearing with, and that group is tight, as they should be. And they've been together for 20 years now, with Aaron Goldberg on piano, Ruben Rogers on bass, and Gregory Hutchinson on drums. And they really brought the house down. I mean, Josh's playing is just so clean, so cogent, as it should be. He's went to Stanford and got accepted to Yale Law School. So very lucid, brilliant stuff. But at the same time, he swings, man, and that set really swung. You know, one of the swingingest sets that I've seen here. And yeah, we're off now to go see Jacob Collier. Kind of jazz of a different vein, but it's going to be a great set nonetheless. I've never seen him live before, and I'm hoping this will be a good show. Speaking of live, if you've never seen Josh live before, he's just fun to watch because his whole body gets into it. He's got this march in place thing that he does when he really gets in the groove and lifts his leg and spins on his heels. It's very, very cool. So onward to Jacob Collier. I'll let you know how it is when I'm done. So that behind me, that marquee, is where Jacob Collier just played, Club Soda. It's like an old-fashioned, you know, rock club, standing room only bar. It's a cool kind of intimate venue. Yeah, that kid is a live wire. If you've never heard of Jacob Collier, he's a multi-instrumentalist. He plays everything. Bass, guitar, keys, percussion. If it makes a sound, if it makes music, Jacob Collier can play it. Usually he's known for his work, his solo work. It's like a one-man band where he layers his own beat and loop stuff and does all that live. But this is with a band playing a lot of material from his new album, Jesse. And yeah, it was so much fun to watch him like dash, really truly dash from instrument to instrument, from the keys to this percussion rig he had set up, to the electric bass. And his music was very similar. You know, each song was composed of, like, you know, chapters, different grooves, some, you know, totally different. And yeah, it was definitely music for the age we're in right now. It reminded me of like scrolling through an Instagram feed. You're just going from groove to groove to groove, but very hip stuff. And it was an exciting set. Madison McFerrin, who is Bobby McFerrin's daughter, opened for him and had a similar vibe with looping and using vocal effects. So we're going to try to see a little bit of Butcher Brown. They're like a jazz rock hip hop group at JAZZIZ, and close out with that. Check in a bit. That's really what I needed to end what is my last night at the Montreal Jazz Fest 2019. Yeah, Butcher Brown, just a really grooving quintet in all sorts of modes. I mean, just there were like straight G-funk tracks, like a Dr. Dre track come to life, but then they'd also get into like Hendrix stuff and bossa nova, and it was just everything was in the pocket. That was the common thread, just deep in the pocket grooves. And yeah, perfect way to end the festivities. So that's a wrap on Montreal 2019. We've got all sorts of videos posted on our website, jazziz.com, and I hope you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check them out. We do travelogues like this all the time. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in another travel video somewhere else in the world. Until next time, I'm Brian Zimmerman, editor of JAZZIZ Magazine. So long from Montreal.